All right, so today we will be talking about FHSA First Home Savings Account. This is for Canadians, as in Canada, all of the tax residents in Canada, they are given some, tax advantages through different tools available. Every single thing that you need to know about First Home Savings Account, that is what we will be discussing today. All right, so let's start with what exactly is FHSA. As the name suggests, it's a very simply understood that First Home Savings Account is for the first time home buyers. So if you are in Canada for the first and you are a first time home buyer, at FHSA, what it is it's a tax-free account. What do I mean by tax-free account is? We will be talking about how it works and whatnot, but simply understand what a FHSA is. It's a tax-free account that is designed to help you save for your first house. There will be some Q&As that we will be talking about, some FAQs as well, frequently asked questions that I come across. We will be talking about a few of those as well. But in simple terms, if you are a first-time home buyer, FHSA account is for you. It helps you save towards your first house. Now, your contributions are tax deductible, withdrawals are tax free as well. In Canada, there is very few items those are tax free. They provide you tax free payouts, very few, and FHSA is one of them. And then you can use that money towards buying your first house. How it works, now let's move on. Who can open First Home Savings Account? Anyone who is a Canadian resident and aged 18 or older. And when we talk about Canadian residents, I myself, I'm an immigrant. I totally understand when we talk about residents, our main question comes in, do I have to be permanent resident? Do I have to be permanent resident, or temporary resident can open as well? As simple as that. As long as you are residing in Canada and you have a social insurance number. Guys, if you have a social insurance number, you are eligible to open up First Home Savings Account in Canada. Okay. Now, what is the another eligibility? You must be a first time home buyer. Now, what a first time home buyer is, it's simply either you never owned a house or you haven't lived in a house in last 4 years. So for example, if you purchased a house, either yourself or your spouse, okay, doesn't matter, you were married. Actually, when you got married, if at that time either one of you owned either yourself or your spouse owned an house, you are not eligible for FHSA. Now let's say, for example, I opened up my FHSA. Few examples here. I opened up my FHSA. I was eligible. I never owned a house, but I got married. My wife already owned a house. So if my wife already had a house, I still will be eligible for my FHSA. But guys, if let's say I was already married, if any one of us already had the house, then not a single person out of them, doesn't matter if only one person is on the title or no, but both of them are not eligible for the first time home buyer. Another example, now let's just say if we owned a house, or if I owned a house as an investment property, but then I moved out of that property and I maybe started living off with my parents, maybe I started living on a rental place. If I did not lived in the property that I owned for 4 years, I again go back and become a first time home buyer. So I'm eligible to open up a first time home buyers. We are not married, skip that part. I love that comment in the chat box. Okay, so, but long story short, even if you're not married, so if let's say I did not own it, I did not live in the property that I owned for last 4 years, I did not live in that, I am eligible back towards my First Home Savings Account. Okay, I can open it up. How does FHSA works exactly? Annual contributions are limited to $8,000 per year. Guys, whenever in Canada, government gives you anything that gives you tax advantages, before they give you tax advantages, they give you some limitations on it, because they don't just simply want you to have too much tax-free payout. So make sure you're utilizing as much as possible on any of these tools those are available. So how exactly your FHSA works is, your annual contribution limit is $8,000 per year and your lifetime limit is $40,000 per year. What it simply means is, if let's say I contribute $4,000 today, I did not contribute full $8,000, but then my 4,000 is carried forward, but I can only carry it forward for 1 year. Okay, and I can only carry forward whatever was less than $8,000 that I contributed. So now, but let's say if I contributed $8,000 this year, next year another 8, next year another 8, I maxed out my FHSA contribution in, let's say, next 5 years. I maxed out in next 5 years. Now in 6th year, I cannot contribute another $8,000 because my lifetime limit was $40,000. So be careful whenever you are contributing, make sure we do not over contribute. Now, any contributions that you do, your contributions are tax deductible. What it simply means is it reduces your taxable income. Let's look at an example. So for example, you earn $100,000, just an example over here. You were paying roughly, let's say 30% in the taxes. Now there is something called marginal tax rate, and then there is average tax rate as well. But any refunds that you get will always be on your marginal tax rate. What marginal tax rate is, it's your highest bracket that you are in. But let's take an example here. Assuming you come under 30% tax bracket, $30,000 would have been your taxes. But now instead, you are a first-time home buyer. You had $100,000, out of which you contributed $8,000 into FHSA. Now what you are left with is, so that is 100,000 minus 8,000, that is 92,000. Now on $92,000, your tax bracket would reduce as well because your taxable income reduced. On 92,000, let's just say I come under 29% tax bracket now. How much taxes will I be paying? $26,680. Now, yes, I contributed $8,000 into FHSA, but guys, what is my tax savings? $30,000 is what I was supposed to pay if I did not contribute in FHSA. But now, because I contributed in FHSA, I paid $26,000. So if I look at the difference, my tax savings are $3,320. These are my tax savings. So that means out of $8,000, I got back $3,300. So out of my own pocket, I only paid $4,620. Okay, that is exactly how your FHSA works. Because either ways, you would have paid the down payment. Either ways, you would have paid the down payment. So why not just do it through your FHSA, get your tax savings? Okay, that's how your tax deductions work. Thank you so much for liking the live, and feel free to share the live as well if you guys have any more people that can benefit from this. So tax-free growth now. Tax-free growth on your investments. Guys, not only that you get tax deductions on your FHSA, any money that you contribute in your first home savings account, you can invest that money further as well. How you can invest, where you can invest, I will be talking about that in just next 10 minutes. Okay, so we'll be coming back to that. On top of that, your withdrawals are tax-free as well when you are using it to buy for your first house. So guys, when you contribute, you got your tax deductions. When you kept your money, you got growth on your investments. And when you withdraw, that was 100% tax-free as well when buying for your first house. These are literally like all three things are check, check, check. And there is not a single disadvantage for opening this account as long as you are planning to buy your first house. Question in the chat box, is it required to contribute right after opening it? No. So you are not required to contribute right after opening it, but keep in mind, whenever if let's say you're not contributing, you can carry forward the unused contribution room for 1 more year. So for example, let's say I opened my FHSA in 2024. I did not contribute. I contributed $0, and that is totally fine. I can open up my FHSA with no contributions. Then in 2025, I again did not contribute a single dollar. Okay. Now we are in 2026. So my 2024 room was carried forward until 2025, but guess what? It is not going further until 2026. So I can only contribute because technically I could have contributed 8,000 for 2024, 8,000 for 2025, and 8,000 for 2026. Technically I could have been eligible for 24,000, but guys, because I did not contribute in 2024 and I can only carry it forward for 1 year, that means here maximum I can only contribute is $16,000. So I can only carry it forward for 1 year, but that is totally okay. You open it up, you don't have to contribute right away into it as well. Okay, if you want to keep $25, $50, that's totally up to you, but it's not mandatory to have the contributions. Now, withdrawals are tax-free as well. Let's look at the example here. For example, I had $100,000. Okay, now let's see how total FHSA gives you benefits. Let's say I contributed $8,000 into FHSA. I maxed out my $40,000. Okay, in next 5 years. If you're planning to buy your house in next 5 years, you can always do your calculations based on whenever you're planning to buy your house as well. But let's say we talk about next 5 years, we max out our contribution room. I contribute $40,000 into first home savings account. Assuming I am in 30% tax bracket, how much would FHSA would give me in the form of tax refunds? 40,000 into 3. So I got $12,000 of tax refunds in these years of, last 5 years. So 12,000 tax refunds. Let's just say you got 10% in the growth. How you get, where to get, hold on. I will be talking about that in just next 10 minutes. Okay. So now let's say on this $40,000, you got 10%. That is another $4,000 in growth. And then you can obviously withdraw this 100% tax free for your down payment. Guys, if you did not open FHSA, this whole 100,000 or 40,000, whatever you want to assume, would have gone directly towards your down payment without any advantages. But because you used FHSA, $12,000 and $4,000, you get back in the tax refunds and you get $4,000 of growth. Guys, you just got $16,000 additional just by using FHSA. That $16,000, you can buy a better TV, better recliner, better love suite, better maybe balcony furniture, whatever it is. Okay, you just got $16,000 extra to use or make your house look better or make yourself feel better as well. Okay, better sound bar, better TV, whatever it could be, right? So you just got additional $16,000. Okay, awesome. Now, as we already talked about, last point, unused contribution room can carry forward up to a limit. That limit is you can only carry it forward for like 1 additional year. Okay, all right. FHSA versus other accounts. Guys, we are not talking about other accounts as of now, but I still want to give you an overview of it. Today, we are going to only talk about first home savings account, but let's see how it is really different as comparatively to the other accounts. So first home savings account, does it give you any tax-free withdrawals? Yes, but make sure it is for your house. Many times I get asked this question, Karan, if we are buying a investment property, can I still use FHSA? No, you have to use it for your primary residence. This has to be utilized for your primary residence. Another one, do I get any tax deductions on the contributions? Yes, that is a yes. But if I look at the TFSA does not give me any tax deductions on contributions. But are the withdrawals tax free? Yes. For the RRSP, if you look at it, are the withdrawals tax free? No, it gets added back to my income. But are my deductions, do I get any tax deductions on my contributions? Yes. What about RESP? No tax-free withdrawals and no deductions on the contributions. Well, they say tax-free withdrawals because, eventually RESP for your kids' education, when they have to use it, they are in the low income tax bracket, right? So they only utilize that much money. So it can be tax-free as well. But then, do you get any government grants on top of it? In FHSA, you get tax deductions, but don't get any government grants. You get government grants only in RESP. There is CESG, CLB bonds as well. There are different types depending on your province to province as well. But there are some government grants in your RESP. Are your contribution rooms carried forward? Guys, FHSA, yes, but the condition is you must open FHSA, only then your room is carried forward. So if you have not opened up FHSA, but you were 18 years of age in, let's say, 2024 or 2025, and you did not open up FHSA in 2026, you cannot contribute $16,000. You can only contribute $8,000. Your FHSA room is carried forward only when you open it up. Only then it can be carried forward. Okay. There is question in the chat box why it's very important to only use it for the first house. What would be the risks? So let's say you contributed into FHSA and now you are withdrawing this. Let's say you contributed $40,000 and you are withdrawing it for the not for the use of first time house purchase. Any tax refunds that you got or whatever money you withdraw from FHSA, it will be added back to your taxable income. So there are no risks for it, but it will be just added back to your taxable income. So if you again come under $100,000 of tax bracket, whichever year you withdraw, whatever your marginal tax rate is, it just gets added on top of your taxable income. So out of your 40,000, whatever refunds you got, if you withdraw full money or partial or whatever, you will pay 30%. Assuming you withdrew $40,000, you will pay back $12,000 because it will be added back towards your income. Okay, so that is roughly 30% of whatever your marginal tax bracket would be. So if you don't withdraw for your house purchase, it will be added back to your income. Now guys, what if you opened FHSA, you had a plan of buying a house, but for some reason you thought of not buying a house? Any money that is in your first home savings account, it can be transferred into your RRSP, so your retirement savings account, it can be transferred into that without triggering any taxes. Okay, without triggering any taxes. Another question here, then how to get it for the house as tax exempt? Well, there is a form that you have to fill out. So it's a FHSA withdrawal form. Either you simply Google it, FHSA withdrawal form, it will take you to the CRA website. That form has to be filled out. Whichever institution you have your FHSAs with, they're supposed to send that form for their own records. They're supposed to keep it, and they're supposed to report it to CRA as well, that hey, this person, this was his prime or older address, this is his new address, he or she is withdrawing this FHSA amount for their purchase of your first house, and you do the down payment of it. And guys, once you withdrew the amount, you must buy the house before next year's October 1st. And if you don't do it, then the whole amount just get added back to your income. And if you told CRA that you are withdrawing this amount for the purchase of your first house, but you did not actually end up buying a house, they will know, because everything is, land titles can be searched out, everything can be searched out, right? So they will get to know what's your address, where you're living right now, and you were supposed to live at a different address, but you did not move. So FHSA can be taxed back. Another question, is there any withdrawal limit or only at $40,000 for the house? Well, no, you can contribute $40,000, but now let's just say this $40,000 had another $4,000 of growth. So now your total comes down to $44,000. Or let's say it grew up to $50,000, $60,000, whatever it grew up to, you can withdraw the whole amount. You can only contribute up to $40,000, but you can withdraw whatever the amount is sitting in there. Okay, so if you are big day trader, stock market guy, so you take your 40,000, you put it in FHSA, you made it $80,000, you made it $100,000, sure, that's all your money, 100% tax free. Okay, so there is no withdrawal limit, only the contributions limit. All right, now what are these things impact your government benefits? No, only the RRSPs do. So RRSPs are your retirement, and OAS, GIS are your retirement benefits, right? So in your RRSP, whenever you have any income, it is added towards your taxable income. The more taxable income you have, less government benefits you will be having. Okay, so that's what this is. Your RRSP income will impact your government benefits and whatnot. Other than that, no other accounts will impact. Investment growth is tax free in FHSA, yes. TFSA, yes. RRSP, sensitive. So in RRSP, your growth is tax deferred. You basically, it's not going to trigger any taxes unless you withdraw the money from RRSP. So when you withdraw money from RRSP, they don't care if it's a dividend income, they don't care if it's an interest income, they don't care if it's a capital gains income, but they simply, whatever money you withdraw, it will be added towards your income. That's it. Okay, so RRSP growth is not taxed, but the withdrawals are taxed. Okay, and in the RESP, yes, the growth is tax free as well. So if you look, which account has the most amount of ticks? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. So this is where FHSA wins. Okay, so if you are first time home buyer, guys, this is one of the best accounts to utilize if you are a first time home buyer, as we discussed above with the examples as well. But now you got to know how comparatively to the other accounts it is better as well. Okay, all right, how to open FHSA. We got to know FHSA is good. FHSA gives you these many advantages: tax refunds, growth, withdrawals are tax free, all these advantages, right? But whole point comes down to is, fine, how can I open up FHSA? Guys, 3 ways to do it. Number 1, simply go to the bank, tell them, hey, you want to open up FHSA, first home savings account. They will be more than happy to help you out. Second is self-directed. So in self-directed, what we talk about, either you can open up self-directed accounts, you can have, Wealth Simple, you can have Questrade, all these accounts, Neos maybe, all these platforms can offer you self-directed. You can open self-directed FHSA accounts over there. Or the third, but last but not the least, licensed financial consultants. Guys, everywhere there are pros and cons. In my other videos, I've also talked about how to choose which is the best for you. But let me do a little bit of a recap here. Banks are very good, as long as you simply want that, hey, my money is just sitting there, I can go there, I'm an old guy, I want a physical presence for my banks to have, I don't want to take any headache, that's it. I trust my, let's say, green color bank, I trust my green color bank so much, I don't want to look at any other option, I'm very loyal to the bank. Sure, perfect, banks are a good option for you. Second, self-directed. Who it is recommended? If you don't have any other full-time job, you are reading market, you are reading news, you know what investments are, you know what your investor profile is, what kind of risks you can take, what kind of investments you can choose, how to study funds. If you know that, if you're fully aware about that, self-directed is for you. If you don't care about the market, don't just simply buy something because someone else got benefited from it like 10 years ago, or maybe 5 years ago, or even 1 year ago. So if you see, oh, my friend bought QQQ, my friend bought VFV and Wealth Simple, I should invest in Wealth Simple as well. That's not how it should work. Every single person's goals are different, investment portfolios, profiles are different, risk profiles are different. Choose wisely. Okay. Third, licensed financial consultants. So licensed financial consultants, how are they different? Guys, self-directed is very simple. You trust yourself, your profits, your losses. What is the difference between banks and the licensed financial consultants? Not much difference. The only difference is, in bank, a green color bank will never tell you what a red color bank has. A red color bank will never tell you what a blue color bank has, because they want to sell you what they have. Banks are business. Licensed financial consultants, on the other hand, they are not biased to one particular company, one particular institution, one particular fund. They are actually working for you. You have hired them. Okay, so when you hire them, they are not biased, and they have multiple product providers on one platform, where it's their duty to do a proper comparison, do your proper need analysis, build up a proper investor profile for you, and then see that, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Client, based on your needs, based on your goals, based on your risk profile, these are the funds that will make sense. And at the end of the day, you're leveraging their expertise. Because guess what? Licensed financial consultants, they know what they're doing, because that is their job. If you are a trucker may or may not be very good with their financial plannings, but a financial planner will definitely not be a good of a driver as compared to any full-time truck driver, because that is their job, they are best at it. This is their job, they are best at it. So you pick and choose. All of 3 options has their pros and cons. So you wanna be loyal to your one particular bank? Do you have a trust? You're satisfied? Go for it. If you're not satisfied, can you trust yourself? If not, then third option is for you. Okay, so this is how it works. Now we're gonna look at some of the examples as well. But now we got to know how to open, but the whole point comes down to, we talked about that contributions gives you tax-free deductions, fine. Your contributions can grow tax-free as well. We talked about that, but now let's see how and where you can invest or grow your money in your first time savings account. Okay, so what are the few options that could, and these all options will be available either you're in the bank, either you're doing self-directed, or you're dealing with a licensed consultant. These all options will be available, but let's see what are the options. High interest savings account or GICs. High interest savings account, as of now, they're giving you anywhere close to 1.75% for high interest savings account. It could be 1.75, 2%. Don't fight, for 0.25%. And on GICs, depending if it's a redeemable, non-redeemable, cashable, or if you cannot cash it out, GICs can give you anywhere from close to 3% as well. But keep in mind, inflation is 4%. Okay. Then second option, stocks or bonds. But guys, it all depends on what your investor profile is, what your time frame is. I love time frame and discipline whenever you're investing. I'll talk about that in a second. Stocks and bonds, super risky, but as I said, it's totally up to you what your risk profile comes down to. If you say, Karan, I don't care how much money I lose, I want to invest it myself, sure, go for it. No one's stopping you. You simply have to be satisfied and confident with your hard-earned money, period. Third thing, funds. Funds could be your ETFs, mutual funds, segregated funds. But what fund is? Fund is simply a basket of companies where there are a bunch of these companies, so that even one company goes bankrupt, one company disappears, you know that your money is protected still, because all of these companies are not going bankrupt at one time. Okay, so funds are just simply basket of. Now let's see how to study funds, how we have be taking care of all of our investors. Now let's see how all of these things work. Few examples. Again, guys, there are millions of funds out there. Whenever either you're choosing your funds yourself, you're self-directed, be careful on what your goals are, what your time frame is, how to invest. Be careful, be mindful of that. If you don't know about it, don't want to take any headache of it, make sure you talk to either your bank financial advisor or your licensed financial consultants. Whatever, but make sure it's your hard-earned money, your money is protected. Few examples now. One of the examples. And guys, we don't have to talk about the high interest savings account or GICs because there is nothing to talk about. These are the simply rate of returns. Stocks, bonds, as a professional, no one will deal about it. But then stocks and bonds, it's you pick and choose if it's risky or less risky. And then funds is we're going to talk about right now. Question in the chat box: if you want to put your money into stocks, where would you recommend to open your FHSA? I personally don't deal with stocks directly, but I'm going to definitely tell you about the funds. I'm going to talk about my personal portfolio. I'm going to talk about my personal funds that I personally like, but giving you guys a very big disclaimer out here. Guys, it all depends on what your investor profile is, what your way of investing is. You have to be very confident with it, right? But I am definitely going to share some of the funds now. Let's say one of one of the funds. We're going to talk about 3 different funds, and then I'm going to jump onto my particular portfolio. Okay. So 3 different funds. Let's say, for example, this fund has 505 companies. This is the, diversification of all these. Guys, even if tomorrow, no offense, I love Apple, but even if tomorrow Apple goes bankrupt, only 6.6% of my money will be lost. Instead, if I invested in Apple's direct stock, higher the risk, higher the return. So if tomorrow, and if you guys think Apple can never go bankrupt, that is exactly what people were thinking about the Nautil before. That is exactly what people were thinking about the General Motors before the government bailed them out. So be careful what do you say and what do you choose for your own self. Okay, 505 companies, just one fund. How it has performed, let's look at it. Guys, 1 year, this fund gave 17.5% rate of return. 3 years, every year it gave 21.7%. Again, guys, this is one of the funds. Be careful what your investor profile, what your risk profile is. Be careful on what you choose. But I'm just talking about some of the funds that I personally like and I personally invest in. Okay, so. And if you guys want to talk about some things, feel free to DM me. We can talk a little bit more about things, but this is just for your educational purposes, okay? Every last 5 years, every year it has given 14%, and every 10 years it has given 12.36% rate of return in last 10 years. And guys, this is your net rate of returns. There are no additional costs, no additional fees on top of these particular fund rate of returns, okay? Another fund. This one has 432 companies in it. You must be aware about these companies: Facebook, Nvidia, Alphabet. Okay, how this fund has performed, let's look at it. 1 year it gave 23.8% rate of return. Last 3 years, every single year 28%, 5 years 14%, and these are annual rate of returns. Every single year it gave you 14.4%. But guys, let's look at this. Let's look at this now. We are going to talk about positives not only, but negatives as well. Let's say you invested it here. It dropped down for 4 months or maybe 6 months. And then it took another 3 months, but it still did not, it still did not come up to the point where you invested it. So should you have invested into this stock? No. But some of you may did, because I showed you some good rate of return. Some of you would invest into these funds because your friends invested in VFV, QQQ. Some of you would go for these funds. But guess what? Your goal was to buy your house in next 6 months. But in next 6 months, the market was going down. And you invested into that fund because your friend invested 2 years ago and that person got good rate of return. So you invested the same way as well. Super risky. So that is where either choose self-directed only when you are fully confident that you know your time frame, you know what you're getting yourself into, and you're okay and you are confident in receiving all the losses and profits. Guys, always plan for the worst, because if something very good happens, that's bonus. But always make sure you plan for the worst. Okay, another fund, 185 companies in it. You must have heard about these companies. Plus, I love to diversify my sectors as well. IT 47%, all these different sectors. Real estate, people love it, but it's only 0.6% because we professionals know, not only think, but we professionals know that, I won't say stock market, but S&P 500 has almost always gave better rate of return as comparatively to what real estate has given, if you do the overall comparison. Okay, so, but again, it's always about, pick and choose which investments would make sense in your case. 185 companies in it. How this fund has performed, guys: 1 year 38%, 3 years 37%, 5 years 17%. But look at this, it fluctuates too much. So are you okay to receive this fluctuation? Are you okay to accept this fluctuation? If yes, this fund is for you. Otherwise, no. I simply go with the time frames. Pick up 5 portfolios. I always go for 5 different portfolios. 0 to 6 months, 6 months to 1 year, 1 to 3 years, 3 to 5 years, and 5+ years. And based on that, that is how we pick and choose which investments would make sense for myself and for my investors out there. Okay? So, and again, just don't forget, these are the net rate of returns. Okay? No additional cost, no additional fees on top of it. All right. Now, where do I invest? I will never recommend you something that I personally don't believe in. Okay, that's my own TFSA, and these are my own personal rate of returns. Okay, and I just pulled up this this report as of today, December 3rd. Okay, and these are my rate of returns: 1 year 22, 6 months 20, year to date is 21.4. But guys, should you be having, or will you be having the same rate of returns as well? It depends. Totally depends on what your goals are, what your investor profile says, what your risk tolerance says, everything. Not only myself, one of my clients, RRSP. Okay, I couldn't, declare the full name, confidential, of course. Okay, as of December 3rd, 2025, 1 year, guys, could be same funds, different strategy. This person's risk profile was not up to the level of what my risk profile is. So we always pick up a balance. I can target 20, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30 as well. But his risk tolerance was not up to that level. That's why it was a totally different portfolio. 6 months, 15, year to date, 15 and a half. Okay, so it really depends on what everyone's risk tolerance is. And guys, we don't do trading. We are licensed financial consultants. We don't do trading. So please don't ask me about which stock or which options to pick up. We don't do futures. We don't do all those charts, candles. We don't do that. Okay, so we are strategic investors. We deal on the goals and then we invest accordingly. Okay, because it's someone's hard-earned money. We can't play too much. It has to be strategic. All right, last but not the least, who should use an FHSA? Simple. First home buyers, savings for a down payment. Okay. Second point, those who want tax deductions while saving for a house. So guys, the whole key point is your house. Okay, if you're not planning to buy a house, FHSA may not be for you. There are other accounts that I've talked about in my other sessions and other videos. Okay, but FHSA, if you're a first time home buyer saving for down payment, those who want tax deductions, you want to save for your house, and anyone who is planning to buy your house for the next 15 years. Why I said 15 years? Why I said 15 years? Because your FHSA can only be opened up for 15 years. If you do not buy a house within next 15 years, you have two options: either withdraw the money, there will be tax consequences, or transfer your money from FHSA to RRSP, and that will not trigger any taxes. Okay, there is a question in the comments where to open FHSA. Let's go back here. Okay, let's go back here. How to open FHSA? Okay, you have three options, brother. You can either go to the banks. Okay, you can either go to the banks, ask them to open up FHSA. If they can get a good rate of returns, what we just discussed, well and good, perfect. Again, depending on your investor profile. If you are confident yourself, self-directed could be for you. Wealth Simple, Questrade, all these options. If you're not confident yourself, licensed financial consultants like myself, I will be more than happy to help you. So feel free to DM me, or you can directly, because we are done with the FHSA, all the pointers here, or you can directly email me or save my contact here, and then there is a calendar link as well, I believe, in this QR code. So you can either feel free to schedule a call with myself as well. Okay, so I hope this session was helpful. Thank you so much for watching, and if you have any question, concerns, please either reach out to me, comments, DMs, whatever it works, and I will be more than happy to help. And also in the comments, feel free to let me know what topics I should be covering next. Thank you so much for listening. I hope it was helpful. Thank you for joining.